up in Potiphar's house at the end of that chapter.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's a whole lot going on already, man. And so the rest of this is kind of like the scene just unfolding for Jacob, Israel. He becomes Jacob takes the name Israel, and for all of Israel to come to Egypt, because that's kind of like the incubator where they need to be so they can grow and multiply to become a nation. God's going to get the promised land too.
That's right. That's right. Man. So that's really one scene. One scene is in the land of Canaan.
And cut.
Yeah. Man. Any lessons from that? Like, what can we learn from the time in Canaan, from Joseph's perspective?
Don't be careful what God has revealed to you, because it's not what He reveals to you isn't for you to go and share it to everybody. In that season where it hasn't occurred yet. You know what I mean? Because there are some haters out there who will try to take you down just to prove God wrong. You got to, that's what the brothers. Let's kill him and see what happens to that dream.
Yeah. So you're right. It wasn't part of it was him, but part of it was let's see what's going to happen to this dream of his. So you got to protect your dreams, protect your visions, and just know that if you get them from God, there's going to be they usually come with some kind of shakeup.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So in the land of Canaan. First scene.
Yeah. So we'll pick up next in Potiphar's house.
Yeah.
So, okay. So in Egypt, you got Pharaoh, who's pretty much, they look at him as a god man, so to speak, or whatever. He's a representation of their gods, small g.
Yeah.
And Potiphar is the captain of the guard. So that's almost like the head of our secret service. Like, the guard was to protect the Pharaoh. So Joseph ends up in Potiphar's house, this young, good-looking dude, and he gained favor in Potiphar's house to the point to where Potiphar let him handle everything day to day, and he didn't check behind him.
Yeah.
Like, so you're talking about having a level of integrity that's just, unmatched. And at this point, you're talking about a teenager. Which is wild.
Still young.
Yeah, which is wild. Basically, everything in that household was under Joseph except for Potiphar's wife.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So 39, so one thing in particular, so 39:2, so Genesis 39:2, the Lord was with Joseph so that he prospered and he lived in the house of his Egyptian master. He gave him success in everything he did. So he found favor in the eyes, became his attendant. Potiphar put him in charge of his household, so he elevated him right to the top. Except don't touch my wife.
Yep.
And so how did that turn out for Joseph?
Yeah, man. So I got it in my notes. Joseph was listed as being handsome. Yep. Only David and Abimelech have this adjective in the Bible as being handsome.
Okay. Yeah.
Potiphar's wife consistently tried to seduce him.
Yeah.
One day when no other person was in the house. So that means Joseph was wise, because if she was around, other people were around. He had some witnesses, but she called him out there one day. And she grabbed him, and she was like, basically, you're going to give me what I want.
She tried to seduce him. Yeah.
You're going to give me what I want. She snatched him up.
Yeah.
And he took his robe off and ran.
What's that Forrest Gump scene when he come running out?
Yeah, man. Run for it. Look at it, man.
Out of there.
I think about Forrest scoring that touchdown and running up the tunnel. Forrest was out of there, man. Yeah, dude. So, basically, oh, man. So, Potiphar had such respect for Joseph, right? His wife tried to minimize. So, the Egyptians, they don't mix with any culture. They believe they're above everybody. Like, they don't even eat with people who are non-Egyptian.
Yeah.
Like, you had to sit in another room. Like, even when Joseph gets elevated to, prime minister, there's a scene where Joseph's brothers come in, they're at a table, the Egyptians are at a table, and then Joseph at a table by himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like they don't mix with anybody. Yeah. So, but Joseph had earned such favor in Potiphar's eyes. But then when Potiphar's wife was accusing him, she wouldn't even call him by his name. She said, she accused the Hebrew slave. So Potiphar had to imprison Joseph. Basically, he could have had Joseph killed, but of course, he knew what was going on.
I know.
He knew what was going on. And here's the cool thing, man. So Joseph goes from running Potiphar's house to where it's like, okay, put you in prison. Well, the prison is in Potiphar's dungeon. because the Bible says it's in the dungeon of the captain of the guard, which is Potiphar. And then as we fast forward and actually look into prison, he still gets put over everybody in prison.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I don't want to skip ahead too far, but what else you got about Potiphar's house?
Yeah, so I had, he was handsome and well built. We talked about that. God gave him success. She approached him day after day. She said, "This Hebrew." So she called him this Hebrew. So it was, it was not a compliment in that regard. They threw him in prison. The Lord was with him in prison, and they put Joseph in charge again. So another scenario where he's thrown into a situation, God is with him, elevated in that situation.
Yep. To speak to that, because it's verse 23, Genesis 39, verse 23. The warden in the prison didn't supervise anything under Joseph's authority.
Yeah.
So that's integrity.
Full authority.
Yeah, man. Sign off on it, Joseph. You got it.
You got it.
Joseph, you say they good? They good.
That's right.
It's like Sister Act. Oh, we all here? We all here. We good.
That's right.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Sister Act 2. That's it. Sister Act 2. Yeah,
so
man.
that's 39. A lot of that's in chapter Genesis 39. So we would call that probably the Potiphar's house. What can we learn from that scene? Anything else from the scene first? Potiphar's house. He has this encounter with the wife, and he ends up in prison, but he gets elevated.
Self-restraint, man.
Yeah.
Because again, man, you talking about a teenager.
That's right.
You know what I mean? I mean, well, maybe he may be a little older now. Possibly he's a little older. It doesn't say. But we know he went in as a teenager. So, I mean, the self-control man, just think about it. If I'm 25 and I'm basically the head, this guy gives me head over his household, and this is an affluent fella.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And everything's in your control, and his wife is throwing herself at you. How many 25-year-olds or whatever gonna walk away from it?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
so
that's a good question. Yeah.
and his response was, you know, how can I do such a thing to sin against God?
Yeah, sin against God.
Yeah, so I mean, so he is rooted in the word.
That's right.
You know, and because you know, in his story, it doesn't go into anything about like Jacob going into the word with him. It just shows Jacob being Jacob. You know, hey, this is my favorite son. You know, with a son, show everybody you my favorite. Go out and check on your brothers. Come on back. You ain't got to do nothing. Going out there, see how it's going. Come on back in here and get you some lemonade. lemonade. You know? So, man, like, as human as Jacob was, you know what I mean? Like, his son Joseph is rooted.
That's right.
I think that's the core of this thing, man.
Yeah, so how then could I do such a wicked thing and sin against God? So that's very popular line that comes right out of that story, right in Joseph. Yeah, so the narrative so far has gone from the pit to prison. Yeah. So it's he's off to a great start, right? as one of God's chosen, right?
Yeah, that's right, man. And dude, the larger your assignment is going to be for the kingdom, the heavier the trials, the heavier the hand of the trials that you're going to endure, because you have to be prepared.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to be, what is it when he sends somebody? You're not going to be deployed until you properly develop.
That's right.
You know, you don't want to eat no half-done eggs.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, man. I think that's a really good point. So the next shift in the story would be, you know, his time in prison.
Yeah.
We do know that, you know, like I said, the warden put him over everything, even to the point to where he was basically doing prisoner orientation, new prisoner orientation.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, because the baker and the cupbearer actually come in, and the warden puts Joseph in charge of them to make sure they're taken care of.
Yeah.
You want to roll with it from there?
Yeah. So we're at Genesis 40. So sometime later. So we talk about patience. So sometime later, I think I read that the entire time from like pit, prison, palace was like 13 years. I don't know if you saw anything close to that.
Yeah, it's 13 years. It's 13 years. I know he was in jail 2 years.
Okay.
So he was in Potiphar's house 11 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we pick it up, and so this Genesis 40. So the cupbearer as well as the baker, they were two officials. it says in 40 verse 2, Pharaoh was angry with his 2 officials, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker. So these are chief officials.
Yeah.
When I first heard like cupbearer and the baker, I thought they were like,
regular people.
regular people.
Yeah, these are the ones who had direct access to the king.
Yeah. So these are like top level officials that Pharaoh had put in prison.
Yeah.
So they all end up in prison with Joseph. And so they end up, Joseph interprets dreams for them in prison. They each have dreams. And so picking up at 49, so the chief cupbearer told Joseph his dream. And so Joseph ultimately interprets both of them correctly. One of them was a positive interpretation.
The first one.
Which one was that? Do you remember? Was that
that was the cupbearer.
The cupbearer.
Yeah,
so,
he'd be restored.
Yep. So positive interpretation of the cupbearer. Baker, however, negative.
Think about the movie Life.
Yeah.
When they finally got it wasn't anybody in jail that could read.
Yeah.
This one guy been carrying around this letter for months.
Yeah.
And then, you got somebody they can read, oh, your mama died.
Yeah.
Your daddy died. Your sister's sick. The dog died. Anybody else want to let it read? No.
So it's kind of like that.
Yeah. So this one is the positive was first.
Yeah.
So the next guy like, yeah, man, tell me what my dream mean too. Yeah.
Yeah. So he comes in and this is he ultimately says this is what your dream means from Joseph, the 3 baskets in 3 days. So he says within 3 days Pharaoh will lift off your head and impale your body on a pole, and ultimately that is.
And the bird's gonna eat.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, man. That's exactly what happened. And Joseph told him, hey, when you get out of here, tell Pharaoh tell your friends about me.
Yeah.
Tell Pharaoh about me.
So the chief cupbearer gets out, and Joseph's like, hey, don't forget about me.
Yeah.
And so Joseph knows that the cupbearer is going back to the Pharaoh. Clearly he knows I interpreted your dream. It was positive. It was favorable. It came true.
Yeah.
Look out for me.
That's it, man. Help a brother out.
Help me out. And so that really closes chapter 40. And so that was the time in prison. And it says when the cupbearer, however, forgot about him.
Yeah.
So he did not remember Joseph after the chief cupbearer got out of prison.
And when you hear that part, it's like, man, how dare he?
Yeah.
How dare you? You've been in jail. So there is some commentary to where these 2 high officials were put in jail because there might have been some type of plot to kill, Pharaoh or whatever. So anyway, but that's neither here nor there, but that's just kind of what some commentators are saying. Because it would be strange for 2 officials who had direct access to the king to be thrown into jail at the same time, But yeah, as soon as you hear that, man, how can you forget about somebody, told you you're going to get out of jail? Because I'm sure they didn't sleep for 3 days.
Yeah.
Just waiting to see what was going to happen.
Right.
Especially the baker. I'm sure he didn't sleep for 3 days.
Right.
But then it's one of those things like, count it all joy, all things work to the good, because until you see the end product, you don't know if Joseph was to get out of prison here, where's he going to go? He's going to go back to Canaan.
Then what?
So what was going to happen when the famine came?
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody was going to die.
So it was all being set up it was God's divine timing. Yeah. So behind the scenes, so the cupbearer gets out, he forgets about Joseph. We do get some indication, so 41:1, so Genesis 41:1. So when 2 years had passed, so Joseph's still hanging out in prison. 2 years later, Pharaoh has a dream, right? And so he doesn't know what it means. And so the cupbearer's like, hey, I remember this guy Joseph. Pharaoh calls for Joseph. Immediately Joseph interprets his dream. And Joseph gets elevated in the palace as a result of this interpretation of the dream.
And so initially, Pharaoh has a dream, and he calls for like all his wise men or whatever. And nobody can interpret it.
Yeah.
Nobody. So it got to the point to where they were just stumped. And they just couldn't figure out anything. And that's when old buddy was like, I might know somebody. I might know somebody. You know exactly. I might know somebody. You know exactly. And so,
this fella back in prison.
After the interpretation of the dream.
Who else can interpret dreams? Daniel. Then Daniel and do some dream interpretations. Do you remember that?
That's when he was writing on the wall.
Writing on the wall, yeah. So that was it was a prophetic gift that he could do that.
So, Genesis 41, Pharaoh recognized the wisdom of Joseph, and that Joseph had a divine spirit on him. verses 40 through 44. You should be in charge of my house. And I don't know if I wrote it all down. This might be a summary.
Yeah,
read it for yourselves. Read it for yourself. You should be in charge of my house, and all the people shall be obedient to you. Only regarding the throne shall I be greater than you. So basically, only when I got on this crown, you got anything to worry about. Basically, without your permission, no one shall raise a hand or a foot. He's given them complete authority outside of decisions to be made as Pharaoh.
Yeah.
It's wild.
So let me see. I got Pharaoh had a dream. The cupbearer remembered Joseph.
Yep.
Joseph was still in prison. Pharaoh sent for Joseph. And Joseph interpreted the dream, and he said he predicted, this is Joseph interpreting his dream. He says he predicted 7 years of abundance and then 7 years of famine.
Yep.
He says God will do it soon. God will soon do it. But he gives them advice. Take a fifth of the harvest during the abundance, save it up, and then, hold on to it for the time of famine. And then Pharaoh says, can we find anybody like this man who can do this? So they elevated him immediately, put him in charge of everything. Pharaoh took his ring and put it on Joseph's hand.
Authority.
And he put a gold chain around his neck, and he had instant power.
And a robe.
Yeah.
So this is his second robe.
Oh yeah, that's right.
This is his second robe. Yeah, man. Joseph rode in. He also rode in the second chariot to Pharaoh, which is a position of power.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So during the 7 years of plenty, like you said, they stored more grain that could be counted. The famine would be severe over the entire earth.
Yeah.
So everybody from nearby who could make it to Egypt came to Egypt during the famine.
Yeah. And people shouted, "Make way!" as he approached. So can you imagine? You was in prison last week.
That's right, man. That's right.
And now you're in a position of power in the palace. So the narrative is from pit to prison to palace.
Yep.
Pretty quickly.
Yeah, man.